Good morning, my name is Michael Mikamba and this is Arise Africa. So we kick off this show with the session I like to call the catch-up. This is where I give you a roundup of what you might have missed on your headlines along the week. And to start us off, officials sent to collect the remains of the victim of the flight MH17 have abandoned plans to access the crash site as fierce fighting in eastern Ukraine reportedly killed 22 people. Investigators from the Netherlands and Australia have been due to retrieve the belongings of the 298 people who were killed when Malaysian airline was shut down earlier this month. They were forced to call off the visit because the clashes between the Ukraine military and the pro-Russian rebels in the road leading to the crash site near Grobovo, according to the Dutch Justice Ministry. In its third day in a row, the experts have been unable to carry out their work. Somewhere around 60 kilometers away from that's such a hard word, Hilivika, 17 people, including 3 children, and were killed by the shellings, says the mayor. Further east in Lusask, 5 people are reportedly killed near the home struck with the artillery. Russian TV show that the bodies in wheelchairs were covered with blankets. Says earlier this time by the Prime Minister Matt Rutte, called Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko, urging him to halt hostilities in eastern Ukraine. Continuation of the fighting comes as the EU leaders met to finalize further sanctions against Russia over the alleged backing of separatists in eastern Ukraine. The planned move is designed to block Russia's bank access to the European Bank, was met by predilections, according to the giants of GP. You can see on my screen a photo of people, masked soldiers. That shows you the situation in Ukraine right now. Moscow has denied the claims and it supplies by the military equipment to reinforce to the rebel fighters. More than 100,000 people have now fled due to the unrest in eastern Ukraine, according to the UN. And that was that on the UN story. We still follow up on what is going on in Gaza, where more than 100 Palestinians have been said to be killed after Israel intensified its bombardment of Gaza and warned that the long conflicts are ahead. Gaza's only power plant caught fire as Israel carried out 60 airstrikes targeting the sites associated with Hamas, the Islamist group which controls Gaza. UN staff members have said that among those killed, an Israeli military spokesman said that the strikes were signaled as the gradual increase in pressure in Hamas. It was televised on Monday. The Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stressed that they needed to destroy the tunnels dug under Gaza's Israel border to prevent the militants from infiltrating Israel. After Tuesday's loss in Gaza, a senior Palestinian official in West Bank said that the rival Palestinian factions had agreed to an unilateral truce lasting at least 24 hours. You can see on my screen tankers in Israel, showing you just how intense the situation in Israel is, and where our Palestinian officials are now say 115 Palestinians, most of them civilians, have been killed in fighting since the 8th of July, while Israel lost 53 soldiers and there are 3 civilians, 2 Israelis and a Thai worker. That is just a breakdown of the people who might have lost their lives, and that is just to mention a few. And the UN Relief Work Agency spokesman Chris Guinness said that in a tweet that a member of staff had been reportedly killed. The UN is currently caring for 182,604 Palestinians in its 82 shelters in Gaza, he said. On my screen, you can see just some of the clips. That's a personal vehicle stuck in the ceasefire, in the attacks. Rubbles, you can see the country literally in flames with clouds of smoke all over the place. That shows you how the war in Gaza is happening. And back to Africa, deadliest Ebola air outbreak in the history continues to plague West Africa as leaders scramble to stop the virus from spreading. Over the weekend, Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf closed most of the country's borders. The few points of entries are still open will have Ebola testing centers which will implement preventive measures, she said. The president also placed a restriction on public gatherings and ordered hotels and restaurants and other entertainment venues to play 5 minutes videos on Ebola safety. No doubt Ebola virus, and I quote, "No doubt the Ebola virus is a national health problem." That's our words said by Sirleaf. And it also continued to say that it attacks on the way of life with serious economic and social consequences. As such, we are compelled to bring totality in our national resolve, fight, and scourge. And to continue, as of the 20th July, the World Health Organization had confirmed 224 cases of Ebola in Liberia, including 127 deaths. Overall, Ebola has killed 660 people in Western Africa, where there are 45 new cases reported in the region between July 18th and July 20th. Health officials were worried about the virus spreading to other countries in the region. This is the first such outbreak that hit West Africa. On Friday, Liberian man with Ebola died in Lagos, Nigeria. The Nigerian Health Minister, Onyebuchi Chukwu, said that Patrick Sewa arrived in Lagos on July 20th and was isolated from the local hospital in exhibiting common Ebola symptoms. He told the officials that he was not in direct contact with anyone who had the virus. The Lagos State Health Commissioner, Dr. Jude Idris, said that authorities have been working to identify the people who may have come across the contacts with the man in his fight. The progress has been delayed and said that because of the airline has not provided the list of passengers on the 3 flights Sewa took, and Sewa flew to Ghana before he went to Togo and switched planes to fly to Nigeria, according to the health commissioner. You can see on my screen masked health attendants. That's showing you how Liberia, the West Africa in general, has been hit by Ebola, which is a deadly virus. You can remember a few years ago, it was in Uganda, I think 3 years ago. And it's a devastating disease. Once you caught with the virus, it takes you up to 24 hours if you're not treated well. And that shows you how deadly the virus can be. And moving on to another story and catching up with what is happening in Libya. The U.S. Embassy in Libya evacuated its personnel on Saturday because of heavy militia violence raging in the capital of Tripoli, the State Department said. About 150 personnel, including 80 U.S. Marines, were evacuated early Saturday and were driven across the border of Tunisia. U.S. official confirmed that to the reporters. And to add more, U.S. stressed that the operations were temporarily suspended until the security situation and ground improves. The embassy will continue to operate there in other locations. And a senior State Department official said that the staff went in other U.S. embassies in the region and others will return to Washington. President Barack Obama approved the statement of the State Department, recommended to temporarily locate the personnel because of its ongoing violence resulting from the clashes between Libyan militias in the immediate vicinity of the embassy. A White House said in the State Department spokesman, Mary Huff, said that the United States is grateful to Tunisia for its cooperation and support. She said that the personnel are traveling onwards from Tunisia were committed to supporting the Libyan people during the challenging time and that currently are exploring other options for permanent return to Tripoli as soon as the security situation on ground improves. In an interim, staff will operate from Washington and other posts of the region. Huff said in a statement, securing our facilities, and I quote, ensures that safety of our personnel is of the top department priorities. Will not make this decision lightly. Security will come fast, and regrettably had to take the steps because our locations of the embassy is in very close proximity with the intense fighting and ongoing violence between the armed Libyan factions. You can see on my screen just a snippet of what is going on. Some photos were very graphic, so we couldn't air all of them. And you can see clouds of smoke. Shows you the fighting is deadly in Libya. Militia fighting in the area has said that the embassy airport has denigrated in the security significantly. The Libyan government, just following on that, has informed the evacuation after it was carried out by the U.S. officials. Well, that was a snippet of what you might have missed in the news. So we take a short brief commercial break, but when we come back, we bring you more on business.